Hi, I'm Monica Shah of Revenue Breakthrough, and today we're doing a More Money series video. Now, today's video is about what I like to call the 70% rule. Now, please don't get this confused with the 80-20 rule. It's totally different from that. This 70% rule is all about how to be more efficient, more effective, and stop beating yourself up. I mean, who doesn't want that? And you know, this stuff is so important. Without this 70% rule in your life, you won't get as much done. And even the stuff that you do get done, you're constantly going to be beating yourself up. So know that this is super important. All right, let's jump in. Now, I want to first talk about something that may seem like a tangent, but it's totally related. There's something called human design. And if you haven't heard of human design, it's this really cool system that people came up with hundreds of years ago. And it's all about sort of classifying you. And they get your time of date, they get your time of birth, your date of birth, they put it into a system and they sort of tell you about yourself. And if you don't know anything about human design, you can just Google human design and you'll sort of get an intro to it. It's super cool. It tells you about like your channels and your gates and how you see the world, et cetera, et cetera. It's a lot like astrology, except it goes a level deeper. Now, what I love about human design, a lot of things, but one of the things that they say was that only 20% of the population has the ability, and it's like a closed box, to do things consistently, the same thing over and over again every single day. What we term discipline. Only 20% of the population, and they said it could be less. It could be closer to 10 to 15. Which means that this sort of, as entrepreneurs, this sort of pinnacle that we're all trying to go for, which is like, I'm going to wake up and do the same morning routine every day, and I'm going to do it consistently. I'm going to do my plan every day, and I'm going to do it consistently. I'm going to, every time I set an intention for what I'm going to do in my calendar, I'm going to do it every day, and I'm going to do it consistently. Like this pinnacle that we're all moving towards. The truth is, only 80 to 90% of us don't even have the ability to do it. Now, I don't say that to like take the wind out of your tires or make you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to be consistent or disciplined. What it means is that we need variety, we need change. We are going to respond to things that come up in our lives. We're going to have different emotions and feelings on different days. And I know for myself, I personally don't have this sort of closed box of discipline and consistency and doing the same thing over and over again. So for me, I really crave variety. There are some days when I wake up and I go running immediately. There are some days when I wake up and I decide to do a meditation first. Sometimes I read first. Sometimes I don't run at all, right? It's not about doing the same thing over and over again. It's about taking time for myself. So knowing this, it had me think about the fact that like, I feel like as a personal growth expert, as a business expert, me and the other business experts out there are sort of sending the wrong message, because we're sort of telling you to do the same thing over and over again, or to be more consistent, or to be more disciplined and to be more focused. And I think all of us, me included, can't always do the same thing every day. We need variety. We're not always going to wake up and have the same emotions and the same feelings. So instead, I want to shift this, and I want to shift the rule to something that I call the 70% rule. The 70% rule means that whatever habits you are trying to build, whatever intentions that you are trying to create in the beginning, right, until it becomes a habit, until you start to enjoy it as a habit and it's something that you look forward to, which may happen or may never happen, you want to start exercising that you do it 70% of the time. Now you might think, okay, great, Monica, 70% of the time. I'll do it 70% of the time. But here's what's interesting. I actually want you to do it as a number. So let me give you some examples. Let's say you're trying to eat healthy, right? You're trying to eat, good food. If you look at a 7-day period, if you're eating 3 square meals over a 7-day period, that's 21 meals. If you're trying to eat healthy 70% of the time, it means that 30% of the time you're not going to eat healthy, which means that 6 meals out of the week, you're not going to eat healthy. Which I just want to say for the record, right? If you're going for 70%, let's say you're going from 0% or 10% where you're eating healthy and moving towards 70% where you're eating healthy, being able to slip up, have some disappointments, choose the wrong thing 6 meals out of the week makes it a hell of a lot easier than trying to go to 100%. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not like we're not going to have brilliant weeks and be 100% successful. But the point that I'm trying to make here is if we're going for 70%, then if you hit 70%, you can actually celebrate. You can be successful. You can stop beating yourself up. And see, that is where the problem lies. If we're all going for 100%, every time we don't hit 100%, every time we go through a day and we slip up, and instead of eating 1 cookie, we eat 5 cookies. Instead of going to a meal and having a glass of wine, we do a glass of wine and an appetizer and a dessert. We end up beating ourselves up at the end of that day. And then we fall off the wagon because it feels so bad to beat yourself up. You're like, screw this. I'm just gonna eat bad the next day and eat bad the next day. Or you make up decisions about yourself like, I can't do this, I can't eat healthy, I can't even stay good one day. Whereas if you're following the 70% rule, you can just chalk it up to one of your 6 meals. Like, hey, you know what? I screwed up for lunch and dinner yesterday. I'm hitting the 70% rule. That means that I've only got 4 more screw ups left this week. I mean, that feels so much better. Right? If you're looking at something like for entrepreneurship, let's say that you're trying to every day of the week reach out to a new lead in some way, like send out an email to a referral partner, or send out an email to a potential new client, or or send out an email to do a workshop. Like, you're doing some sort of reach out every single day, and you're going to do it 7 days a week because you really need to build your business up. So if you're following the 70% rule, it means that you can actually miss 2 days of the week and you're still hitting your goals. It's kind of brilliant, right? I mean, if you want to do it in a traditional way, that means that you're on 5 days and you're off 2 days, which could be the weekends. But we know as entrepreneurs that weekends aren't always weekends for us, and weeks aren't always weeks for us. So you may have woken up Monday morning and not slept very well at all. So all day Monday was just kind of a mess, and you didn't get anything done that you wanted to get done. That's okay, because if you're following the 70% rule, you chalk it up to one of your 2 days that didn't go well, and you can just go in on a Saturday and be really efficient that day and make it up. Right? This is what it's about. What I encourage so many of my people to do, especially when you're starting a new habit or a new behavior, is go to the 70%. Right? Don't try to get the A+ 100%. Go to the 70% and figure out what that 70% looks like. So if you're trying to do something every day, right, 7 days a week, 70%, you can mess up 30%. 30% of 7 is about 2 days. If you're trying to do something twice a day, right, do the math. Twice a day, 2 times 7 is 14, and then do 30% of that, right? Really look at this out from the calculation perspective and allow yourself to hit the 70% for any new habit you're creating. I think you're going to find that this makes it easier in the beginning. If you get to a point where you're constantly exceeding the 70%, great. That just means that new habit has become a part of your life, and you don't have to worry about the 70% rule anymore. If you never get to that point, right, and you never really exceed the 70%, that's okay too. Because I want you to remember, if you're starting at 0 or you're starting at 10%, 70% is a heck of a lot better. So this week I want you to, of course, as always, go use the 70% rule, and as always, go out, make tons of money, and make this world a better place. If you liked this video, give me a thumbs up at the bottom of the video, and while you're down there, you might want to subscribe so that you don't miss a future video. So go ahead and turn the notifications on so that you'll be notified every time a new video comes out, because we do these videos weekly. And leave me a comment or a question if you have them. I love to read your comments and answer your questions. And don't forget to read the video notes, because there's a resource there. There's a link to a resource there that takes this content even further, and it'll be super helpful for you. Thank you.